Hi cozy friends! I talk about hobbies all the time, and one of the questions I get asked the most is, how do you have time for all of these hobbies? And the answer is I don't. I have way more hobbies than I have time for, and I wish I had enough time in the weeks for all of the hobbies that I do have, but that does not stop me from being a hobby hoarder, okay? I'm gonna be a hobby hoarder whether I've got the time for all of them or not. That's not to say that I evenly spread out the time for each hobby that I pick up. I don't. Sometimes I want to do coloring, sometimes I want to try a new skill or learn a new hobby. Those aren't evenly spread out all the time. But I do have to be super intentional about delegating out time for these hobbies. Otherwise, time will fly by. I will prioritize work and other obligations in life, and I will not have spent time on any of the hobbies that I want to spend time on. And for me, having that hobby time is not just about like the act of having a hobby. It's not just like I have a hobby and I could say that I have a hobby. Hobby time is time you're spending with yourself. Hobby time is time spent learning yourself, learning what you like, learning what you don't like, learning new skills, enriching yourself, escaping from the world, being mindful, being alone with your thoughts, and challenging yourself. Like, there's so much to hobby time, and often it's a moment of self-care for me. It's a moment of restoration. It's a moment of recharging away from the world and the ideas of productivity that have been kind of shoved down our throats, when having hobbies is productive. Having rest time and having time for yourself doing the things you love is also productive. And that is another long tangent I could go on, but my point is organizing and making time and being intentional with my hobby time is essential to having any hobbies at all, to maintaining any kind of hobby schedule at all. So in this video, we're gonna chat about how I find new hobby and craft ideas, how I organize them all, how I plan them, and also how I track them once I get them started. So let's get started! So the two main systems I use to organize my crafts and hobbies are Notion, and that's more like the ideation, organization phase, and then a physical planner, and that is everything else. So that's like the planning and the tracking. So if we had like a timeline, Notion would be the first third of that timeline, and then the physical planner would be the other 2/3. So one digital, one physical. But I'm gonna break this down into steps so it's super easy to follow and understand. So step number 1, finding inspiration. Where do I find inspiration? On the interwebs. I find inspiration on Pinterest, on Instagram, on TikTok, and then sometimes like random places on the internet or in real life. So what I'll do is search hobby ideas first. Like if there's a particular hobby I know I want to get into, for example, air dry clay. On Pinterest, I'll search air dry clay projects or air dry clay ideas, and I create a board that's either like craft ideas, craft projects, hobby projects, DIYs, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes sense to you, whatever speaks to you. And then I take all of those links and all of those pictures and I put them all into a Notion page called Creativity Hub. Now, one note I will make about any craft projects or craft inspiration that you find online: if you then go and like post this craft project you've done online, make sure you're crediting the people who had the original idea. As a creator myself, not a creator of like art or anything, but as a creator of content, it is sometimes frustrating when you see that somebody has kind of nabbed your thing without any credit. And I never want to do that to artists, like actual art artists, whenever I'm replicating their work or whenever I'm taking inspiration from their work, because I'm just doing it to have in my home. I'm not like taking it and selling it. If you're taking it and selling it, I would err on the side of maybe don't do that. Maybe add your own flair to things. But if you're just having it for around your home and you just kind of want an exact replica because you think that that's cool and that person, you know, gave you a guide to do it, that's fine. Just make sure you're crediting people if you post. That's all I ask. Okay, that's my one disclaimer as a creator. Just credit people. Once you have found all the inspo that you want, what you're gonna do is take all of that inspo, just bring it on over and shove it into another organizational platform so that you don't just have all these ideas like floating around and then you never actually go and use them. That's what I do with recipes, but I don't cook that often, so that's okay. I'll have recipes saved on Instagram, on TikTok, on Pinterest, and I never go to those individual places and find them because because I don't be cooking. So that's fine. But when you do have so many hobbies or crafts that you do want to start and you want to be intentional about actually starting them, it's good to then take all of that inspiration from all different platforms and then consolidate it into one central point of inspiration for you. Now we're moving on from the platforms and we're moving over to Notion. So this is the next step. Step number 2, if you will, is a Notion page. My Notion page is called the Creativity Hub. And in my Creativity Hub, I have currently and I have up next. So this is how I organize currently what I'm doing so that I can stay on track and finish a project, which is very hard for me to do. And I think that's okay. Sometimes I think we need to start something and move on, and that's just part of the creative process. I don't think we should beat ourselves up about that. I think that's fine. Okay, as long as we're having fun, that's all that matters. I often joke about like starting crochet projects and never finishing them, but like it was fun for me at the time while I was doing it, and that's all that matters. That's like all a hobby is and is meant to be, is to just have fun. It's not like a race. Nothing's a race. Nothing's a checklist, a checkbox, a to-do list. Once you make your fun things a to-do, it's less fun. Keep that in mind with all of this organization and planning. Like, you can be as lax with it as you want, because that's what's keeping the fun in all of this. Like, it doesn't have to be, I'm currently doing this and I have to finish. No, you don't have to. So currently and up next, I can move things from currently to back to the craft projects database. I don't have to keep it in the currently tab, and up next I can change that whenever I feel like it. Okay. But I do have these just to kind of keep my mind focused when I want it to stay focused. And then I also have my craft ideas Pinterest board linked in here just so that I have easy access to that once I want to like port over all of my inspiration pictures. And then the big kahuna, the meat and potatoes of this Notion page is my craft projects database. So how I use this is I keep it in gallery view just so that I can easily see all the pictures and easily see what the craft project is without having to like read. I just have this on my iPad, by the way, but I often do this on the computer. Let's open the chest project. So first and foremost, you see just a picture, because that's all that was available on Pinterest, was just the picture of the craft. Often you're not going to find the DIY instructions along with it, but if you do, I'll show you an example. That's great. Often it's like a YouTube tutorial or like an Etsy pattern that you can buy. For a lot of them, it's just like a cute picture of a craft that I'm like, I want to try and replicate that. So this is a great example. This is a clay piece. I just loved the fruits and I love how bright it is. It's just really cute. So the first category I have here is hobby, and I have all of the possible hobbies that I am interested in, and you can obviously customize this to whichever hobbies you like. If you have less, if you have more, just only add the hobbies that you know you'll be interested in and want to do in the future. So for example, I have beading, I have clay, I have crochet, I have knit, I have quilt, I have sewing, I don't know why some of them are in like present tense and some are in like sewing. What is that, present participle? I don't know. Then we have gem painting, drawing, blender, polymer clay, paper, pearl beads. So the first thing I do is import the picture of the hobby or the craft idea, and then I choose whatever it is. It's clay, amazing. And then if there's a guide is my next category. So if there's a guide, is it on YouTube? Is it a pattern you get on Etsy? Or is there none? For this one, there isn't one. If there was a YouTube guide, I would put the YouTube guide link in the main part of the page. And if there were an Etsy pattern, I would put the Etsy link in the main part of the page. But for this one, there is not one. And then type hands-on. I don't know why this is a category. I was joking on stream about this. Like, what other kinds of hobbies are there if they're not hands-on? Like, every hobby's hands-on. So I think maybe I'll eventually change this to like messy versus not messy, because I do think that's a really important distinction. Like, some hobbies are really messy, take a lot of space, like it's just a lot of moving pieces. So I think I would want to categorize that for the days where I'm like, I don't want to do something where I have to like get my hands messy, where I have to do a bunch of stuff. I just want to keep it simple. So I think instead of hands-on, I'm eventually going to change this to like moving pieces versus simple, or like messy versus not. But you can do whatever categorizations make sense for you. I'm going to move on to a example, and you can see I just have so many cute ones. I have so many cute ideas and stuff that I could jump into. I'm so excited. So I'll show you an example of one that does have a pattern, and that's the beaded chickens. I love the beaded chickens. They're so cute. I can't wait to try them out. Over here, you'll see it's beading as the hobby. The guide is yes, and there's a pattern. And then I have the pattern linked right down here. So if I click on that, it takes me to beadpattern.com where I can buy this pattern for $8 and then get the tutorial for how to do it. So it just makes it really, really easy for me. And I have so many different ideas in here to do. And there's only more to come, because often I'll like go into my craft room and I'll be like, not often, but lately I'll go into my craft room and I'll be like, there's so many things, I really don't know where to start. So I'm just gonna do like perler beads because it's easy. This is such such a good way. I sit down in the craft room, or even in here, I have some of my craft supplies in here. I sit down, I pull this up, and I go, what do I feel like making? What do I feel like making? Because there's too many ideas out there to just come up with one in my head that I've seen before or whatever. No, everything is right here for me. Okay, now we're done with step 2. Now step 3 and 4 are like the chunks of how I organize, plan, and track all of my crafts and hobbies. And it is all using my physical planner, which is, I know I've teased this to some of you, but now the time has finally come to show you my collection with STIL Classics. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm like actually holding this. Like the amount of work that went into this, the amount of work in planning, I'm so excited that it's finally here in my hands and I can use it because it's like my dream planner for all things, for life and for all of my hobbies. So STIL Classics is a woman-owned planner company that I've been using for over a year. And I know y'all know that because I have had that planner in all of my content and all of my YouTube videos and all of my like plan with me, productive day, reset day. Like I use that planner faithfully, and it's the only planner that I've been able to actually use for a full year. I am such a stationary planner girly, and I will just get planners and get planners because I'm like, this one will work. This one will finally make me stay on track. And I kid you not a single planner or like bullet journal or anything have I finished for a full year until I found the STIL planners, because it just makes sense. Marissa is the founder and creator of these planners, and we chat a lot about how we're like similar and both type A people, and she is a stationary planner girly who made these planners to make the most sense. It's everything you need and it's nothing that you don't. And so when Marissa reached out to me and was like, let's do a cozy collab, girl, let's do a cozy collab, I was like, stop it, like this is a dream come true. Like somehow I manifested this, somehow we manifested this. Like I'm so excited. I can't explain how exciting this was, because I was able to now take this planner that I so faithfully loved and was going to use until like my last breath and add the tweaks that make it perfect for me and like any cozy besties, you know? Ugh. And then it was also really important to me to incorporate rest and me time or you time with the same importance as productivity. Because I feel like a lot of planners are just like productivity, 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 which is fine. And that works for some people and that's great. But y'all know that I strive to prioritize rest and coziness and me time just as much as productivity, if not more. And so I really wanted to reflect that in this planner and in all of these trackers and journals. And I really hope that that comes through, because that's just what I want out of a planner. That's what I want out of a tracker. That's what I want out of something that helps me organize all of my me time and all of my life. I want it to be holistic. I want it to not just organize my work and my productivity. I want it to help me organize everything so that I am able to balance everything well. And I love it. I love it. So how do you use it? I will show you. So step number 3 is planning. So the daily planner part of this is super intuitive. I'll show you a weekly spread. You're just gonna see a to remember in the upper left corner. And I like to use this for anything I just want to remember for the week. Like, do I need to pick up something from the post office? Do I need to call somebody? Do I need to make an appointment? Those random little to remember things that slip by. Whatever is the most important for the week, I like to put that up there. Under that, you'll see weekly tasks. So that's stuff that you might not know where to fit into your daily to-dos yet, but you know you have to get done. Or maybe you don't want to fit it into a daily to-do yet and you just kind of want to keep it for the week and you can get to it whenever you get to it. That's what I like to plop in there. And right under that is where we have a little rest progress bar, a movement progress bar, and then a supplements progress bar. This is so important to me. Like I was like, I need to make sure I'm getting the proper amounts of rest, because as a grade A workaholic, I will work and not prioritize my rest on particularly rough weeks. This is just a way to hold myself accountable so that I know I'm scheduling in the proper amount of rest for the week. And that can look like whatever you need it to look like. That can be whatever amount of time you need. And I like that. That's kind of customizable and you can just fill it in however you like. Like if you only need 2 rest days a week, if you only need 2 hours a week of rest, that can be reflected in however you fill out the progress bar. Similar with the movement bar. My goal is like minimum 3 movement days a week, like 3 movement activities. So like like 3 yoga classes. So I would split this into like 3 chunks of the progress bar, and like as soon as I do 1, I'm filling in a third of it. But again, that's gonna look super different for you. Maybe that looks like you do it every day. So then it's like 1 out of 7 chunks every time that you're filling out the progress bar. And then supplements, I just like having a supplement reminder and kind of a tracker for supplements. And I think this is a good way to just keep it fun and easy. And then the rest of the weekly planner is just very straightforward. In the top, I like to put appointments and meetings, events, and then in the bottom, I like to put my daily to-dos. I also like to put like any due dates for things in the top as well. And then of course we have like a regular calendar spread where you can have a little notes on the side and you can put your monthly spread of whatever you need to keep track of. So I know you're like, what does this have to do with planning my hobbies? Okay, we're on step 3, which is planning. So yes, you can put any of the hobbies that you want to do in the actual weekly spread, but the monthly roadmap and the monthly reflection are where I envisioned being able to plan in your hobbies for each month, or like set an intention for the month of how you're going to work your hobbies in, or just your general self-care. So on the monthly roadmaps, you'll see the personal goals and the self-care goals. So if you see your hobbies as like personal goals, you can put them in that space, but I like to see my hobbies as self-care, so I'll put them in self-care goals. And I really love how these are equally split up, like it's of equal importance. Your personal goals and your self-care goals are equally important because they are. So for example, in personal goals, that might be like movement 3 times a week, reading 3 books, cooking 2 new recipes, things like that. Or like work goals you can put in there too. And then self-care goals would be like take 2 baths this month, give yourself an at-home pedicure, have a cozy gaming day, full day of doing nothing but cozy gaming, starting a new hobby, treating yourself to a new treat, something like that. And so that's where personal goals and self-care goals kind of fits into the planning aspect. And then habit trackers is just regular habit trackers. That's not the hobby tracking yet. We'll get there. And then down here you have books to read, shows to watch, games to play, things to make. So while there are actual trackers that we will get to, this is just a way to work in the hobby planning into your like monthly planning routine. So everybody's like, I'm gonna plan my taxes and my I'm trying to think of like more administrative stuff that we plan, budget audit, and I'm gonna plan all these things. But you have to also be mindful about the hobbies that you plan as well. This is just such a good way to put those things front of mind and really make sure that like the rest in the you time is also part of your intention setting. And so you can have a little space for books to read, for games to play, movies and shows to watch, and then things you want to make. And then the monthly reflection comes at the end of the month. There's like a section for monthly highlights. There's I cared for myself by, so you can reflect on how you actually did care for yourself, and you can see if either you need to work on caring for yourself more or if you did a good job and you want to maintain that. And I was happiest when, and that's really an important one for me because you can see each month what actually made you happy. You know, we think looking back like, yeah, I think that made me happy, or I think this made me happy. But when you really reflect on it, what made you happiest? And how can you keep incorporating that into your life? For me, it's my hobbies. It's always going to be my hobbies. Well, not always. I won't say that. You know, I'm going to leave myself open for having other forms of happiness in my life. But for me, it's my hobbies. And so this is a great way for me to kind of track which hobbies brought me the most joy. I avoided, and this is a space you can reflect on either the things you avoided in a positive way, like, hey, I avoided too much screen time. Or it could be the things you need to work on a little bit. Like I avoided rest. I avoided self-care time because I was too busy. I avoided self-reflection in certain moments. I avoided contact with my friends. That's a good place to just reflect on either positive or negative things you avoided. And then I will work on is a good place to set intentions for the next month for everything. Spending more time on hobbies, spending more time on you, and spending less time on the things that don't make you happy. And then another way to plan your hobbies is through the stickers that we have. I love these. These I like to put on the weekly planning spreads. Let's just go to a random week here. And let's just say Thursday, I want to spend time in the evening on one of my hobbies. So we have a reading sticker, we have a gaming sticker, we have a crafting sticker, we have a journal sticker. And then down here, if you want it to be more vague and less hobby-y and more just self-care, we have free time. So then you can just fill it with your hobbies if you like. We have self-care, we have mindfulness, and we have time outside. And then we also have a blank one that you can fill in yourself. So if you want to like make that specific to a hobby that you have, or if you just want to customize it in any way, there's blank ones as well. So I think it's a good way to just like, again, set set intentions for the week, because if you don't set the intention for the week of putting that time aside for hobbies, it's just gonna slip by you. So I love that things like the stickers and just the actual features of this planner make it so easy to be intentional about planning your hobbies. Okay, now we're moving on to part of the trackers, which is the monthly journal or monthly reviews. We have a book one and we have a gaming one. And like I said, we'll get into the tracking part in a sec, because that's like the chunk of actual hobby tracking and planning, and that's like it's the most exciting part of this whole collection for me. But this is part of the book one and part of the gaming one. So when you get either the book tracker or the reading tracker, then you also get these review pieces. So for the gaming tracker, the monthly review looks like this. And so you can put this at like the beginning of each month or the end of each month, whichever makes the most sense for you. And then you can write down the games you played this month and then the games you want to play next. And then you can write out your favorite game and little notes on it, so like why it was your favorite game, and then your least favorite game and why it was your least favorite game. And I really love having this at the end and in the beginning. It's like in between each month. It's a good form of accountability. Again, like you can be excited to put down all the games you played or finished that month, and then set intentions for the next month where you're saying, I'm gonna play these games next month. I'm gonna make the time to play these games next month because I want to, and because I want to give myself that time, but I won't do it unless I'm intentional about planning it. So that's the game monthly review. And then the book monthly review, very similar, except on the top, it's like total books read and then book goals for next month. So it's a great way to set goals for the next month, and then also the accountability of, okay, how many books did I actually read last month, and did that match up with the goal of the previous month? And it's okay if it doesn't. It's totally okay if it doesn't. Like, this is not really a like, you should stick to this. It's more for me, just again, intention setting loose goals that really help you keep all of your hobbies at the forefront of your mind instead of letting it take the backseat. It follows up with books read, where you can mark all of the books you've read. It's so satisfying to be like, I read all these books this month, and look back and be like, dang, I really did read a lot of books. Or if you're like, I didn't read as many books as I wanted to. Okay, next month we're reading more, right? Then you have favorite books and your notes on it. This is just quick notes because the actual book tracker goes into more detail on it. And then least favorite book, your notes on that. And then the books up next. So this is what I love. I love being able to plan the books I read next, because I will sometimes see a TikTok of people hyping up a book, and then I'll be like, I've got to read that, and I'll slide it at the front of my TBR list, read it, and be disappointed by it, instead of using my carefully crafted, curated TBR list that I curate based on good reviews and all of these things. I always disregard that and shove one to the front of my TBR and hate it. So this is a good way to set intentions, to make sure I'm keeping up with my actual TBR and not letting the book talk hype get to me, okay, get to my head. Those can be for the extra reads for the month once I finish these reads. So within our planning step, our step number 3, I really like the actual planner, the monthly roadmaps, and then the monthly reviews. I love all of those as tools to be able to plan and set intentions for which hobbies you want to get into for that month. Now we're on step number 4, which is tracking, which is the most exciting piece for me. I'm so excited to walk you through this. Okay, we're starting with the hobby tracker. This might be one of my favorite trackers just because it's so unique and also general. Like, I love how general it is because you can really just customize it to what works for you. Again, a tracker for hobbies. Some people might be like, why do you have a tracker for hobbies? But again, for me, it's so important to actually hold yourself accountable to the time that you spend on your hobbies and the time that you spend on yourself, because otherwise it's going to fly by. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's true. It's true. When you think about your busiest weeks, you're just on autopilot. You're just on autopilot, and there's nothing holding you accountable to actually taking that time for yourself and taking that time for your hobbies and the things you love. So having a hobby tracker is a game changer for me, for actually holding myself accountable and seeing firsthand, seeing in physical form, seeing in a visual that's so clear just how much time I invested in my hobbies. It either encourages me to keep going in that direction, or it's telling me I'm not quite doing enough. I'm not quite doing it enough, and I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling not as rested and not as invested in myself and my personal general happiness. And oh, if I look here, it's because I spent 2 days on my hobbies in total this month, right? So I love this hobby tracker. It's so simple. You could put it in at the front or in between each month of the planner. Or if you don't want to have the planner, you just want to get the hobby tracker separately, then you could just keep a little binder of all of your trackers. And that's super fun too. The way I have it set up is I have gaming, I have reading, I have coloring, I have new skills, I have writing, I have art, and you can make these as specific or vague as you want. So say you only do crocheting as a hobby and you want to diversify the kinds of crocheting that you're doing, then you can do like crocheting animals, crocheting scarves, crocheting blankets, and you can split it up like that. Or if you're like me and you just want to keep it general, it's just a good way to see how much you're investing in certain hobbies versus others. And if you're actually putting in that time that you've set the intention to put the time in for. And the goal for these can be whatever you want them to be. And that's why I have the goal and then the total. And it's not just a 31-day tracker, because the 31-day tracker to me suggests you should be doing it all 31 days, which is absolutely not, like, that's so stressful. And that's like way too much. Like, you should not be working on all of your hobbies for 31 days. That's insane. But for me, it's like, I know I game a lot more than I do any art. So for me, I have a goal of 15 days for gaming, and that's including my streams and stuff. And then I have art is 5 days. Like, that's the whole goal for the whole month. It's just 5 days. And I have such wide ranges between my goals, which is 100% the point of this. It could just be whatever you want it to be. Like, art is 5, gaming's 15, coloring's 5, new skills is 3, writing's 4. Like, I'm keeping it absolutely practical. And then at the end of the month, you can come back and count your total and see kind of where you fell in terms of your goal. And then the this month tab is meant to be, again, very general. Like, all of this is meant to be so customizable to you, because I know that's how it works for me, because I have so many varied hobbies, because I'm a hobby hoarder. It's like, girl, I don't know, I need 10 plus different bullets to track all of the different hobby projects I possibly want to do. And so we have this whole list here where you can put any single hobby, specific hobby that you want to do. You can put each individual book you want to read, or you can just put read 5 books. You can put each individual craft project you want to do. So for all of those craft ideas that I had, I could put like 3 of those on here. Like, you don't have to finish the project, you don't have to whatever. It can just be all the things you just want to touch for that month. And then we have that I want to spend more time. An example I put is catching up on my film list. That's a hobby, and that's something that I want to do. I have so many films I haven't seen yet that I want to see. I want to learn. I put more clay techniques, and then I can rest by designating rest time each week. But I think this can also be something specific. Like, I want to rest by finding a mindfulness music playlist this month and using it, or making a themed bath. I don't know about y'all, but this, as a hobby hoarder, this is like a dream tracker for me. And then the next tracker we have is the game tracker. I might be biased as a cozy gamer. Like, that was my first main hobby, and like the hobby that will always be like 50% of my hobby interests. This is the one I'm most excited for. And I'm just so excited. Like, we've only really ever had gaming trackers that we personally just like throw together. I don't know. As a gamer, I've always had some form of gaming tracker, whether it's like on Notability. I've created a couple on Notability. I've created a bunch on Notion. Ever since I started gaming seriously again in like 2019, I've had some form of gaming tracker or gaming journal. And I wouldn't have known that I needed this if I had not gone through all of those iterations of a gaming journal or a gaming tracker. Finally, I have one that is in like physical form that I don't have to fill out myself every time. Like, this is so perfect. I'm so excited for it. So in the top left, there's a little section where you can either draw, write, or print out a little game artwork piece. I like to use my Canon Ivy printer for all of these trackers, and I just print out a little game title piece either in horizontal or in vertical, and then I can like fill in the sides with decoration or color or whatever. Or you can literally just like write in the title really big or color it in if you're more of an artsy type. I just like to use my little Canon printer and print it out. Then there's a spot for name, there's a spot for genre, there's a spot for platform, and then you have finished, ongoing, DNF. And DNF is did not finish. Now, there are so many games I did not finish because, God, they were bad. They were just bad. I don't know. Or I like fell off of it or whatever. And so many different kinds of trackers that I see, which is usually just like a book tracker. It's always like started, finished. What if we didn't finish it? What if there was no date that we finished it because we hated it? So I really want to have a DNF checkbox because it's true, it happens. And then also an ongoing checkbox because there's some games like Animal Crossing where you never finish. You don't finish, there's no finish. So it's an ongoing thing, and that's what that checkbox is for. And then obviously a finish checkbox for when you do finish the games, when there is a start and end. And then we have the 5-star rating there, and then we have notes, and then we have a liked and disliked section. I love this gaming tracker. I love it so much. I love it so much. I cannot wait to just fill this, and get more and fill it again. I want to like go back in all of the games that I actually did finish and just like keep a journal of all of the games that I played and like be able to fill this out with all of those games. And then it'll also be nice to flip through and be able to be like, I fell off of this game. I haven't played it in a while. I want to get back to it. I want to finish that. So that's really fun. And then again, in the tracking kit, the monthly reviews are included. So like the games played this month versus up next, and then favorite game and least favorite game. And so that is part of the tracker as well. And our next tracker is the book tracker. This is like a classic book tracker. There's so many book trackers out there. I wanted just like a slight customization to this. Like I said, there's some book trackers that just don't capture all of the realities of being a reader, such as a DNF checkbox, right? So we have, again, the little spot here for the book title cover page. I, again, like to use my Canon Ivy to print out a little cover page here. There's title, author, how many pages, genre, finished, ongoing, DNF. And the ongoing for this one is more like, you know you're gonna finish it, but you haven't finished it yet. And then you can go back and then say like finished or DNF. This is not ongoing in the way that ongoing game one is. And then we have the rating, of course. Then we have format, which I'm excited about. Then we have a little favorite quote section. And then we have a thoughts section where you can give all your thoughts. And then similar to the game tracker, in the book tracker, there's the monthly review where you can track like the books you read and then the books you want to read next month. And the last tracker is the craft tracker. And this kind of captures all of the hobbies that are not reading or gaming. This is very similar to my Notion page, except it's tracking it as you go through that craft. So once you start the craft, then that's where you're tracking it through here. So again, we have a little spot where you can either draw in what the actual craft tracker is or put your inspiration picture. You can see here I have like a little inspiration picture of a air dry clay sofa that I think is so cute. And then we have project, we have type, so that's usually like what medium it is. We have a started and a finished, and then we have a progress bar. I like the progress bar because it was just fun. Like, I feel like there's this dopamine gamification to progress bars, and it makes you more likely to want to finish that project, which I really like about specifically the craft trackers, because with gaming and reading, that's a little bit more like, okay, if I started, I would like to finish it, right? Like there's a story, there's a beginning and an end. Usually like I would like to finish that story if it's good and I want to. The progression of that is a little like there's a start and there's a finish. But then like if you really don't want to finish it because it's a bad story, you DNF, right? But the craft tracker, it's like, you don't know, maybe you'll start a craft and you'll come back to it. You don't really want to fully ever DNF a craft. And so that's why we have like a started, finish, and then a progress bar, because the progress bar is nice to be able to, if you did kind of put it on the back burner, you can come back and be like, oh, you know what? I was 3/4 the way through that craft. Let me hop back in. Let me just finish that. Let me finish that real quick. So I love the progress bar. I love how it makes it more approachable to jump back into it or to like keep you going. It's like the gamification that keeps you going. And then we have a materials section and a subtasks. So the materials are just making sure you have everything you need for that craft. And then the subtasks are for kind of each step of the craft, because crafts can have a lot of steps. Like with this air dry clay, you've got to get familiar with the clay. You've got to create the base. You've got to create the add-ons. You've got to let it dry, and then you've got to paint it. Like there's so many pieces to it, moving pieces and steps. It's helpful to track it. It's helpful to track it, and then you can check it off and know exactly which stage you're at, which is also great for if you take a break and come back to something, then you know exactly where you left off and you know exactly what you need to do next. You know exactly which materials you need to pull out. I just love it. I think it's perfect for like any craft, really. Like you can apply this to any craft at all. I feel like this is really gonna help me stay on track and really motivate me to keep going and like try new things. And then you can look back and see all of your finished projects. And if at the end you want to take off your inspiration picture and slap on your finished project, then you have a whole journal tracker of all of the projects you've made and a picture along with it. And I think that is so much fun. So those are all the trackers. That is how how I organize all of my hobbies. That's how I find inspiration. That's how I organize the inspiration. That's how I plan out when I'm gonna do the hobbies. And that is how I track the hobbies that I'm currently doing. It makes all of this like mush and jumble noodles in your brain so clean and organized and understandable. So you're not like, I don't know, I have 10 million things I wanna do. I'm just gonna sit here and scroll on my phone. Instead, you can flip open your planners, your trackers, and know exactly what you wanted to do, what you wanted to plan to do. It's just all in one place, and it is so exciting. And if you want to just like take inspiration from this and use your own planners and your own methods and your own bullet journals, please do that. But also I would so appreciate if you supported this new collection, because I'm so excited about it and I would love to continue growing it and making improvements and maybe adding new trackers and new planners and new journals, and to just break down what the collection is. You can get everything separately if you'd like. If you just want the trackers, if you just want the planner part, you can get everything separately. There's this journal. This is a custom journal for the collection. On the back it says STIL times Cozy K, which is so exciting. The outside's this lovely like brown color, and then the inside's a nice tan cream beige. Also in the collection are the stickers, the little hobby and self-care stickers, and then also these really cute stickers for just daily planner, because I love to decorate my daily planner with colors and stickers all the time. Y'all know that. Next is the actual weekly planner throughout the whole year. So the rest of 2024 and 2025, you can get the weekly planner, which has all of the like self-care, habit trackers, and personal goals, self-care goals, all of that in it. Another product is the craft tracker. Another one is the hobby tracker. Another one is the gaming tracker, and another one is the book tracker. And as a reminder, the gaming tracker and book tracker also have the monthly reviews that you can put in between each month, so that you're like keeping track of the books and the games that you read the first month and plans for the next month. And then also Marissa added this really cool planner holder that doubles as a headphone stand, which I think was the smartest thing ever. Like, she's such a genius. So it's this little 3D printed holder. You plop the planner in like this, and then you put your headphones over top and it just sits on your desk like that. I think it's amazing. I'm gonna use that in tandem with my cookbook that I always have my planner open on. And there's also digital versions of all of these. So if you are a digital iPad person, there is digital versions of everything, which is very exciting. But I'm just so excited to have a planner that prioritizes rest and self-care just as much as it prioritizes productivity. I think that's so important. And just a lasting thought I want to leave you with just about hobbies and self-care and time for yourself. There's some quote, I'm paraphrasing so much, but it's like, in 6 months, in 12 months, you are either going to be the exact same person you are right now, or you are going to change in some meaningful way. You are going to have learned a new skill. You are going to have prioritized self-care and rest so much that you have such a balanced life and such a healthy mindset. The time is going to pass regardless. Those 6 months, those 12 months, it's going to pass. So are you going to spend that time working on yourself, working on new skills, learning how to have a better work-life balance, a better productivity, self-care balance? Or are you going to let those 6 months, 12 months, however long pass and be the exact same person? And I think that is so important to keep in mind, to keep at the forefront of our minds, that like, if we are not intentional about it, if we do not actively think about it and actively plan to work towards something, to not work towards something, you know, to not work as much, then we're just gonna be stagnant. We're gonna be static, rather. We're just gonna be the same autopilot person we've been. And maybe that's okay with you if you like where you are, but if you're not, if you don't like where you are, that's not okay. We don't want that. We want to grow. We want to grow, and we want better for ourselves. So you can use the next 6 months, 12 months, a year, whatever, to learn a new skill, learn a new hobby, plan that new skill, plan that new hobby, or you can be the same person. You can be the same exact person. All of this can be done absolutely for free, but I'm really excited to have worked on this project that I can bring to those of you that are interested, that I use every day, that I think is an actual value add to our lives, to gently nudge us in the direction of giving ourselves that us time and that self-care and that pouring back into ourselves. Yeah, man. Life is short. Prioritize yourself, prioritize joy, and prioritize play. Most importantly, prioritize play. Play is a luxury, and it's not something that we should take for granted. Just know that whatever ever cadence that you can work in hobbies and self-care into your life, that's fantastic, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Whatever works for you, works for you. I'll have all of the links for everything in my description. I love you so much. Stay cozy. Bye.